Hello everybody, welcome to Sure Shot Archery. Anthony here, and in this video I'm going to talk about your finger sling being too long. So, your finger sling being too long, most of the time when you're shooting, you'll realize this when you shoot your bow. You shoot, and your bow comes down. You'll end up having the bow land like way up here. You'll end up catching the bow way above the grip and everything. You might even catch it on your clicker or on your plunger or arrow rest, things like that. Not really helpful because, well, you could be interfering with those different parts, which isn't cool, but it's also super awkward. When something like that happens, obviously you should check to see, maybe you changed your gripping position on your bow and some things like that, but odds are the reason it's all the way up there is because your finger sling is just way too long. Depending on the type of finger sling you have, you could probably just shorten it up. This is a shoelace one, so I can just take out the stitches, cut it, and then re-sew it back together, and it'll be good to go. Some other ones you may have to make different modifications to, depending on what you have. I know for the shoelace ones, when you first turn a shoelace into a finger sling, it takes a couple thousand arrows for them to really stretch out to their maximum, and then after that they slowly start to degrade. But because shoelaces are kind of stretchy, it takes a little bit of shooting to actually get them to their fully stretched length. So I find myself having to shorten my finger slings a couple times. Like 2 or 3, I would say, from making a brand new one. And then after that, I could go a good 6 months without having to do anything to it until it eventually falls apart and I have to replace it. Now I want to cover a kind of a rarity, but it is a possibility to happen for those of you that are like, oh, well, I don't care that I'm catching my bow when I'm all the way up here. That's not an issue. Well, in the rare circumstance, something like this can happen. If you look at my finger up here, you see that? Yes, that red line? That is from my finger sling being too long. So what happened to me is I had my finger sling on. I shot my bow. My hands here. The bow came out, and because there's so much room, because look at all this room, tons of room here. Because of all this room, the bow came out and it caught right above my knuckle, I guess right in front of my knuckle here, and it cut all the way down to where the finger sling attaches to my pointer finger. Yeah, ouch. That definitely hurts some. And well, it's definitely a call or a sign to me saying, you better go and shorten up your finger sling. Now, that is a pretty, extreme scenario, to happen to you, but it is a possibility. So this video, the whole purpose of it was, what are some things that can happen when your finger sling is too long? And well, in extreme cases, you can actually catch yourself with your own bow, which hurts, and it's kind of lame. It's kind of funny, especially since yesterday I had just finished shooting the January World Indoor Series and finished up with a 577. So I shot really well, and then I go and catch myself with my bow. Granted, it wasn't actually the first time that I've done this, and I had done it a couple times before in the last 2 weeks, leading up to this day here where I caught myself again. And in those 2 weeks, I have shortened my finger sling. Obviously, it got a little bit long again, and I got a little wild, and I caught myself. But that's the thing. It's this video is about keeping an eye on your equipment, understanding what's going along, going with it. And if you're having a problem with the bow catching really high, you should definitely trim your finger sling so that you don't have these issues and possibly catch yourself on your bow. So with that pretty much wraps up this video. Hopefully you found this information helpful. I'm trying to share more information as I go along because my shooting's getting nice and consistent. Not that it hasn't been consistent in the past, but the scores are really coming in strong. So I've tested this to see if it was maybe my grip position or other things that were causing me to catch my bow. But at the end of the day, I cut out all the variables, and the one that keeps coming up is the fact that this finger sling is just too long, and it's causing me to get nipped by my own bow. So with that, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this solves any kind of problems you're having with your finger sling being too long. Please subscribe, like the video if you found it helpful, share it with your friends, and as always, happy shooting.